and welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, and swearing, a ghost called joint. Of course, I'm Nick Cameron of Glacially Musical, scratching the bridge of my nose, joined by my good friend, a man who always sees the world in varying hexagons with all kinds of bright colors. Kaleidoscope Chakas, how we doing today, buddy?
Shades of Grey. That's what I'm all about, sir. Shades of Grey.
I feel like that's a song, is it?
It is a song by Biohazard, one of my favorites. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little low energy, but you know what? That's fine. I am a little bit sleepy, but tomorrow I will be in the city that never sleeps. So I need to get a good rest tonight.
Why are you going to New York?
No, we're going to Las Vegas. Aren't they both
That's,
city that never sleep?
I mean, technically,
God,
but
can New York let share anything with
no,
anyone?
no, we
No.
can't. No, we're incapable. You know this. I want to ask questions you already know the answers to.
Well, that's why I'd make a great attorney. That's
You
what I
would've.
learned. That's what I learned about attorneying from Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. So there, I've got my literary reference in for the week.
What about Boo?
I'm,
What about Boo Radley?
what about Boo Radley? Hey,
I think
Boo.
I think Boo Radley is one of the most interesting characters in the whole. It was the conversation with William
And
and
he
his mother
he
at the beginning
raised.
of
She's a good woman. He's a good man. He raised those kids by himself.
what by
Hello, by
himself.
himself.
Calpurnia.
Alrighty, that is not where I was headed, but the train ended up at the station as it always does. Station almost famous. Anywho, if you are joining us this week for Master of Puppets, you princes of Maine, you duchesses of Cornwall, and you bishops of Dubuque, thank you for that. Here's how we do this. We have a greeting, a beer check, a vinyl check, news check, shirt check, meat of the day. Again, we are discussing Metallica's Master of Puppets. Today, the Glacially Musical Beer of the Week is once again the Urban Chestnut STLIPA, the STL IPA. It's a semi-bomber I'm drinking out of today, and it is a delightful Imperial IPA or double IPA with an 8% ABV.
I like your NPR voice today. It's very
Well, I
NPR.
listened back a lot to last week, and I got overexcited a
Well,
lot
you always
last week.
do when there's a guest. I know you love the guest more than me because how you act.
It's the I got out of my NPR voice and out of my journalistic integrity voice
No,
into
I
my
mean we.
Horseshack voice,
I mean,
and
we were excited, Mr. Carter. We got excited. Sue is
Mr.
wonderful.
Cutter.
Please go back and
She
listen to Sue Ring. She's
she was
incredible.
absolutely wonderful, and I just felt like I was a bit overexcited, and I need to rein myself in a little bit because I was doing my microphone a disservice by screaming into it. So. That was why I actually had it back when we started recording, and I moved it forward
Well, I mean,
back to the no reverb range.
I know that I can't rein you in, just like you can't rein me in. So we have to police ourselves because we cannot police each other very well.
All we can do is rain in blood.
I thought we did pretty well in person. Like we actually, I wish we had done a pod in person. It would have been interesting to see if the dynamic changed.
That was the intention, but I
Well,
apologize. That was a very,
it was a
very
tough
weird
time.
week. It was a bad time for me.
It was a tough time. Ah, was it bad? A little.
No, I mean, I was in a bad headspace at the
We
time.
well,
It was a
well,
great weekend. It was a great time, great weekend. But I was dealing with something that, frankly, I did not want to deal with, and I still don't want to.
I know. I'm.
Especially tonight on a night like this where it's 73 degrees in St. Louis.
Is that good or bad?
73 degrees in August in St. Louis. I need to go buy a lotto ticket. That's living the dream. There's no humidity, there's no rain in it. 73. If we were at our old place, we'd be sitting on the sun porch by now.
No, that's fair. All right. No beer for me, but another liquid death.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say assisted living murder your thirst.
Maybe. Jesus. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Good to see you. And the STL IPA only disappoints if it's expired. I actually bought a couple of six packs in a row from my local grocery store. They were expired because apparently at that time nobody else was buying them like I do. So every time I'd open one up, it would be like a fountain of expired double IPA. No good. Urban Chestnut did give me a replacement pack. I did not ask them for the second one because I felt like they're not going to believe me. This is going to seem really cheesy. Anyway, my vinyl check for the week. Now, the first one this week is something that I'm actually kind of surprised I purchased. This is from a young up-and-coming group that I have been seeing for quite some time. I think you might have heard of them. It is John Lennon and Yoko Ono, Double Fantasy. This record has, and you know, hopefully someday somebody's going to pick up on this John Lennon kid and, you know, his amazing talent. Very good quality record. I got this at the Punk Rock Flea Market. This is a very sturdy actual record itself. I don't believe, if I didn't know better, I'd swear this was a 180 gram repress in just some random, Actually, no, I'm thinking I might have a Frankenstein copy. Like a modern repress and an old-timey sleeve. Either way, I don't care. I mean, I have it for the music and nothing else. And the song, I'm listening to this a couple of weeks ago when Lawyer Wife was getting ready to go somewhere. And all of a sudden it gets to this one song, and I don't know how familiar you are with this record, but there is basically a song which is 3 minutes of Yoko orgasming. Going, oh, moto, moto, which means wait. Choto, omachi, moto. Anyway, yeah, so she's like, what the hell are you listening to? I'm like, John Lennon. But this is actually the record he wrote in Bermuda. So it's got that special, and I learned about that on a tour in Bermuda. I got that for, I think, about $10. Nothing major. My second record of the weekend last is the B-52s. Cosmic Thing. What's on this record, Keefy?
I got me a Chrysler, it's as big as a whale. Love Shack, baby.
Yes, it is Love Shack. I got this one for about $20, I think. When it was sold new, it was sold at, it looks like Sam Goody, if I had to guess. But unfortunately, the price is long since gone. I think I spent about $30 on this. This is a 90s pressing. So 90s pressing is a little, it will always be a little pricier than everything else just because there weren't that many. Still has the hype sticker, give the gift of music, and the original price tag, which I said the price is gone. So that is my vinyl check for the week.
Well, all right then. I continue the epic run of Record Store Day Black Friday 2023 releases. And I have a really cool one, a record that I long wanted in my collection. I had this originally as a cassette in the 80s, one of the first metal cassettes I ever had. I loved this record so much. And now I have it. And it came with what a Record Store Day release should be, and I'll tell you why. You'll probably agree with me. Maybe you won't. This is the amazing... Oh, my bad. There's more in there I didn't plan on. Sacrilidge, or Sacrilidge BC from the Bay Area, Party with God. The members of this band are still active in other bands. So this is a full album plus their 85 demo on vinyl for Record Study with a bunch of extras. You cannot appreciate it from this video, but this whole front cover is like almost embossed. Not quite an embossed, but it's kind of like a relief of this skull, and it's like raised. It's really
if it's
beautiful.
not embossed, is it embruced?
I don't know, sir. Really
Get
killer.
it? Get it?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. So Southern Lord put this reissue out, and along with the reissue, it came, again, as I said, with the album and the demo. It has this lyric sheet, liner notes, photo inner sleeve that I do not use. It came with a Sacrilidge BC comic book, history of the band.
No, I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. I just don't need that.
I do. I love it. And it even has when they played, hey, CBGB in New York City. I don't know if you know that. I'm from New York.
I've heard of New York. What is that?
Yeah, it's a place, a special magical place. So the vinyl itself's just, standard. A little dirty. I don't know why it came out of the thing dirty. But it has this bonus demo on this sort of white picture disc I didn't ask for, but it's cool nonetheless. So the demo
Picture
is on.
picture discs are getting like more and more popular.
I don't know how. So
I don't get it.
here's the
Oh,
actual
I
demo.
I do get it. It's for people that don't open their records.
Possibly, I don't. That's even worse because then why do you get a picture disc if you're never going to open it? Side A.
Correct.
Side A is the demo, and then this image on side B, which is kind of dope, right? Like
Is that that's a
it's like an etching maybe or a
yeah,
backside.
an etched third side.
Yeah, yeah, an etched
Robert Plant
side
does
B.
that, Robert Plant does that, and I love the fact that he does that because he has three sides rather than 2.5 sides or like 3.5 sides that like are weird lengths.
Yeah, I didn't ask for this. I don't need it, but it's cool that it came with it. I don't. Most demos from the '80s can't possibly be good enough to really be pressed onto vinyl in any way meaningful. But if you're,
I have
you
one
love
that
it.
is one,
Yeah,
and that's
if you
haunting.
yeah, if you love thrash like I love thrash, then you do thrash things.
And doing thrash things means buying shittily recorded records from the 80s.
Sometimes it does. All right, I'm not going to be able to sort this back in the package until later. Just going to leave it right there behind me. News check, sir.
All right, I got a couple of news checks. First, I'm going to do some St. Louis news. Keefy, where can you find me?
At the diner with the slingers.
You can find me in St. Louis. Down, where they gonna play? Ring all day. Who sings that?
Not a clue.
Nelly.
Oh, I don't. Why would I know that?
He's the greatest rapper of all time from that week. He's from St. Louis. I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah, I might have heard that once or twice.
So he was arrested this morning near the major concert venue for possession of ecstasy and having no insurance at 4:45 a.m.
Damn.
Yeah, he's living his best life. I have insurance. I don't know how they found 4 ecstasy pills in his car, but good police work there, I guess. But I'm gonna say, shouldn't Nelly just be immune to all these things? I mean, just let it go. I mean, Nelly. So that's news number 1. That's sad news. The good news is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a friend of the show, Glenn Hughes, but he did a couple of records with a guy you may have heard of named Tony Iommi. One of those records, the first one, Seventh Star, Duncan and I did on the Department of Metal Antiquities. And then the third record, or the second record, Duncan and I also did on the Department of Metal Antiquities featuring Steve Scavuzzo of Clouds Taste Satanic. Then there's another one called Fused, which is arguably the best one, which we have not done. Future Department of Metal Antiquities subject, Fused. Those Fused and the DEP sessions, which came out in actually I forget when the DEP sessions came out. It was delayed. It was recorded and it was released much later. But both of those records are now being pressed on vinyl, and you can pre-order them, which is awesome. Fused is one of my absolute favorite Black Sabbath related records, not named Diary of a Madman or Blizzard of Oz, because that's not fair. Or Holy Diver. I guess that's not fair either. So, one of my favorite Black Sabbath records, Black Sabbath adjacent records, not done by a former singer of Black's. Oh, shoot. It's that too. Fused is a fun record. How's this go with that? It's got a song called Dopamine, and it's got the dumbest lyrics. The dopamine is getting me high, makes me feel good. Well, Glenn, that's precisely what dopamine does, but we appreciate your scientific knowledge on this topic. So I will be pre-ordering that as soon as it pops up on Amazon. Pre-orders are up. I forget who is releasing it, but it is out there.
Is that all your news? I'm here for all. I want all the Iommi things. So let them keep going. Keep going.
Oh, I know. I actually love quick editorialization. So this will be in the course of 6 months. 6 months. We will have gotten 4 Iommi vinyl re-releases of things that are not well-known Iommi stuff. So maybe we will get the Iommi studio record on vinyl now. Maybe we can get Heaven and Hell re-released on vinyl. And the amazing live at Radio City Music Hall. The quite reasonably good Devil You Know. And that might be everything he's ever done.
I think we're going to have a hard time getting the Heaven and Hell stuff ever put back out again in Ozzy's lifetime because Sharon just doesn't want to. I think it's low on her list.
There was an agreement that they wouldn't put out anything under the name Black Sabbath. So maybe we can get it because of that, because they named it Heaven and Hell on purpose. We'll see. So. I'm hopeful, but I'm hopeful, but not holding my breath. How about that?
Fair enough. Correct me if I talked about this right. Is that all your news? Do we have more?
Mm-mm.
All right.
That is it.
Okay, really quick and try to bang through these. I saw a show last night. It's my turn for a review. There'll be a written review at ghostcultmag.com, but I got to see my first show. I've been kind of taking a break ever since June, where I'm not going to as many shows right now. And I needed to. There's a lot going on.
That reminds me, I'm going to jump in after this one. I have one more piece of news.
Okay. I understood the assignment. Anyway.
I did not. I'm sorry.
No sanctity for my turn ever on this show. 500 episodes, 200 episodes, whatever it is. Anyway, I saw a show last night. And was Buzz Osborne of the Melvins solo, accompanied by Trevor Dunn of Mr. Bungle on upright bass. Opening for them was J.D. Pincus on solo banjo and vocals. J.D. Pincus of Butthole Surfers, you might know. He had a weird, like a strange apple or snail-shaped video screen behind him that just played weird psychedelic videos. He came out, he played well, he was really funny. He was like, this next song's a cover of a song I wrote. Like, it took a second. Like, really great sense of humor, deadpan delivery, fantastic stuff. Definitely going to look more into his things. Every time Melvins or Buzz tours, Melvins merch and the Buzz Osborne merch is a must if you're a Melvins or Buzz fan for vinyl collectors. He always brings out rare, hard-to-find things. It's cash only. I don't have any cash on me right now, but I was like dying inside that I couldn't buy everything.
Can I ask for a clarification on that?
Surely.
I don't want to bust the sanctity of the marriage. I want to understand this. When you say he brings out rare stuff, are you talking about he like represses it, or he like has it and he brings it with?
I think he has stuff and brings with. He doesn't. They don't have a lot of repress money. I think so. So Melvins will do most of their records through Ipecac Recordings, which is the co-owned record label by Mike Patton and his partner Greg Workman. And then sometimes they'll put out some weird releases on it, still on Amphetamine Reptile Records, which is still around. It actually was defunct. And Buzz, because he wanted to put out records he didn't want to put out with Ipecac, made Thomas Haselmeyer bring back the label specifically to release Melvin's side albums separate out. They're not side projects. They're other Melvin's albums that he just wants to have two avenues. And so I just think Buzz has an accumulation of stuff. He also just put out some recent stuff with Ipecac he had with him. I think he just got leftovers of things he's trying to get rid of, and they sell them on tour for cash.
That's really cool. The only thing I've ever seen like that was Steve Vai found a box of Flexible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Flexible's terrible, so.
Right. Same. I think about all the Decibel magazines I have and all the flexies I got from Guitar Player and stuff like that years ago. Guitar World. I don't know why I bothered. Anyway, quickly on to Buzz. Buzz is solo. He has 2 solo albums. He's done 1 headline tour in 10 years. This is his 2nd headline tour ever, U.S. and Europe right now. Dale Crover is on tour opening for Red Cross, so that's where the rest of the Melvins are right now. Red Cross has got Stephen McDonald. Dale is on opening. So Melvin's scattered but still working and operating. And, Trevor, in addition to being the bassist of Bungle, is an incredible, accomplished jazz bassist. He's played in avant-garde jazz things. He's done a lot of black metal with avant-garde jazz, like Imperial Triumphant and stuff. And so it's like Buzz's solo stuff, deep cut covers, deep cut Melvin stuff, and like sometimes Trevor is just accompanying him on upright bass with a bow or fingers, and sometimes it's just like Trevor is playing lead guitar solo stuff on bass, and sometimes Trevor's doing avant-garde weird noise things. So like this is a show especially crafted for my taste in music, maybe not everyone else, but Fun fact: in addition to some cool covers, Melvin, the set list closed with two Melvin songs: "Revolve," probably their most popular song from the '90s. Boris, their most famous song, period, which the band Boris took their name from, and he closed with a cover of "Shock Me" by Kiss, which was amazing.
That is epically wrong, and I'm here for it.
I sent you the video of the beginning of it because I don't want to tape the whole thing.
That's what that was? Oh my God.
That's the beginning of "Shock Me." Well, you have to wait for the vocals to come in. Anyway, that's news one. Would you like to do your final news piece, and then I'll bump mine?
I apologize.
Just go for it.
We did not mention last week that Aerosmith has completely retired.
We didn't know until it wasn't official until it's Friday.
Okay, well, it was canceled. The whole thing was canceled, and it's over. And I'm waiting for my $300.
I think Steven blew his voice out on that very first run of Peace Out tour dates. They opened with "Back in the Saddle." It's like "Back in the Saddle" and "Last Child."
Should not have even been in the set.
Should not even get in the, or bring a backup singer to do the high screaming parts. Like that rips your vocal cords apart.
Like David Coverdale does.
At this point, yeah, you have to. If you can't do it, you can't do it. And Gary Sharon had a backup person. John Bush missed some shows with Armored Saint last year, and they got in Jason McMaster. Like, if you got to get somebody, you got to get somebody, man. Like, sometimes you just can't do it. And he's 70 whatever, and he's ripped his voice apart for 50 plus years. I think it doesn't mean they're done with music. I don't think this means they're going to ever come back for a one-off or whatever. They can't perform like they can perform. Why bother doing it? Joe will continue to make music, Hollywood Vampires, Joe Perry Project. I worry about Joe because I think Joe is still on the schneef and is going to die on stage if he's not careful. Brad voiced multiple opinions for years that they could not pull off a whole tour. He was correct, prophetically correct. Tom has beat cancer. It's been in remission for a long time. I don't want these guys to die. They still never fixed their beef with Joey Kramer, so I'm sad, if anything, the most for Joey, because he never got to play with them again the whole last, 5 years, which really
sucks. It was a whole weird thing to begin with. The fact that they had to cancel it just seems fitting.
Yeah, Steven kicked him out of the band, basically. It really sucks. And he bullied Joey his whole fucking career. So, what a piece of shit. But anyway, I'm sad that Aerosmith is America's finest rock band outside of Metallica. And despite the grossness of Steven and things we've discussed already on the show. And I am sad because I haven't seen Aerosmith, by the way, in 25 plus years. But
same.
The 3 or 4 shows that I saw, magical. Absolutely magical, including Woodstock 94.
I haven't seen them since 99. It was the only time, and Lawyer Wife has never seen. So it was going to be, you know what,
right.
We can afford it, let's go.
Could have been special. I'm sorry for Lawyer Wife. She deserves to see all the bands. She's great. Moving on. And that was a good piece of news. I'm not mad at the news thing. Just let's get our ducks in a row.
I will start writing them down. I'm sorry.
A band you may have heard of. I'm not sure if you're listening to this show, if you are acquainted with the band Metallica. They started in Los Angeles. They moved to San Francisco.
Dave Mustaine's band?
I think it's Dave Mustaine and Dee Dee Verney's band. Anyway, Metallica, the subject of today's show, also again kicked off the American leg, the final run of M72 tour dates, unless they add some more I don't know about, which is possible. They did that last year and the year before. They started, had many friends. I really would love to have been to one of these shows. Doesn't seem like I'm going to get to see any of these shows. But they were in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play football. I have been there. I saw Metallica there in 2017 with Avenged Sevenfold. I was drunk the entire show. I barely remember it, but it was amazing. I was as close as I will ever be to Metallica, almost this close, except for the little club show I saw. And so I just want to do a quick run through of the set lists of the 2 nights with you. And just rip through them and get your feedback. Just really quick, yays or nays.
I got night 1 up, so go ahead.
I do too. So of course, every show begins with "It's a Long Way to the Top" if you want a rock and roll montage, as well as the Ecstasy of Gold, as they have always done. Opening with my favorite song, "Thank You and Good Night, Creeping Death."
Should not be the opener.
Well, it's a great opener. "Harvester of Sorrow," number 2, which the video is up today on YouTube from this show. Leper Messiah.
Oh my God, I've never seen that one. I wish I could have gotten it.
I think maybe I've seen it once in 40-something shows one time.
There you go.
King Nothing.
Good song.
72
Seen
Seasons.
it every time. Yeah, great song.
If Darkness Had a Son, Here I
Great song.
Am. Followed by the unfortunate Foxborough on the Run, Kirk and Rob Doodle. Please stop doing the doodles.
No, do them, but only do them for 3 minutes.
Don't do them. And I know Lars needs a break, right? This is like the point. The doodle comes at the point in the show where Lars needs a breather. Get it. Day That Never Comes.
Oh, great song.
Shadows Follow.
Good song.
Orion.
I'm not a big fan of instrumentals live.
Nothing Else Matters.
Great song.
Sabatru.
Tired of it. Tired again. Great song. Tired of it.
Hardwired.
Good song.
And then to end the show, Fuel, much later in the set than it normally is.
Yeah.
Seek and Destroy.
Okay.
And Master of Puppets.
Naturally. That doesn't need to be the last song, guys. I'm sorry.
Their sound check included Leper Messiah, King Nothing, Lux Eterna, Screaming Suicide, and Inamorata. Just thank
I
you.
love that
Setlist
Metallica
FM.
plays their new record every tour.
Every tour, and they've been doing it for a long time, which is great. Okay, night 2, really quick. Long Way to the Top, If You Want to Rock and Roll, AC/DC, Ecstasy of Gold, Morricone, Whiplash. This looks like the set list we saw.
Nice.
From the Bell Tolls.
Wonderful.
Ride the Lightning.
Perfection.
Until It Sleeps.
Okay, that's a song.
Lux Eterna.
Thank you.
Screaming Suicide.
Good song.
Then, unfortunately, a cover.
Unforgiven 2.
No, I wish. An unfortunate cover of my least favorite song by Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline. Only appropriate because the Boston Red Sox, it's like their theme song, or one of their 2 theme songs.
That is completely unnecessary.
Followed by a doodle.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they did the maybe that is the doodle. I'm not sure about this set list.
Either way, it's a slap in the nose.
I don't care. I don't care for the song. I don't care for the Boston Red Sox. I don't care. Don't pander to the hometown. Welcome Home, Sanitarium, In Full.
Mm-hmm. Good song.
Wherever I May Roam, You Hate.
Yes, I do.
Call of Cthulhu.
Again, you know how I feel about that.
The Unforgiven.
How can you? I mean, you can't complain about that one.
And then look at this ending of this last 5. Big balls. Inamorata, which is like 12 minutes long, right?
Wait a minute, that's another instrumental, isn't it?
It is, so 2 in the set.
20 minutes of instrumental music? I don't think I need that.
Not from this band. But maybe James needs a break. Blackened is the End.
Blackened? I've never seen that one either. Sons of bitches.
Moth into Flame from Hardwired. One. And Enter Sandman.
Great time to walk out.
I mean, 2 great set lists. Wow.
The fact that Metallica is still changing it up, still mixing it up, and I mean, that's awesome stuff. And I wish more bands would be willing to play with the set list more than making it like a Broadway show.
There was also a severe weather event, and the fans at one point had to be evacuated into the stadium concourse. And unfortunately, the local band, Ice Nine Kills, who we saw and are not good, but they didn't get to play their hometown show with Metallica, and that makes me sad for them a little.
No, I feel bad for them for that.
And fortunately, when they came back, 5 Finger Death Punch, their set was abbreviated, which is great. So, and then Metallica got to play their entire show. So, and the curfew of the venue was, it's a union city and state, and so they pushed the curfew back to accommodate Metallica, or maybe they paid for it. I don't know what it must cost to go over now.
When I saw Metallica at Busch Stadium, they went over probably by 90 minutes because of the rain. We had rain. It was so bad. I mean, I kept saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. And Allie looked at me and she said, dude, why? Look at the rain, dude. Do you really want to go out on that? I'm like, but we're so far. She looks at me. We're 2 miles from the stadium. We live 2 miles from the damn thing. You know this. I did. At that point in time, I had lived in that house for 9 years. I know where Busch Stadium is. It's not far from where we were. Hell, it's not even that far from where we are now. But yeah, so I think we got in like right as the unsigned band was going on, as we all know was not an unsigned band. Who was that? I can't even remember their name now. The band, it doesn't matter. And then we saw Volbeat, and then there was like a 2-hour break between Volbeat and Metallica. It was a long break.
Long breaks are not necessary. Let me ask you just a rando question. It's
Hit
not
me.
it's not a competition, but just out of curiosity, how many major league ballparks have you been to?
2.
Okay.
Busch Stadium
And Wrigley?
and Busch Stadium 2.
Oh no, not even Wrigley.
Not even Wrigley.
How is
I've
that how is
walked
that
next to
possible?
Wrigley, and I have walked next to the stadium in Washington D.C. My family does not appreciate the idea of going to other venues like I do. So, I mean, I would like to when our lawyer wife and I our retirement is going to be in a motorhome. That is going to be our retirement, and we will go to hockey games and baseball games all over the country. That is what I request.
I
We'll see how that
realized
works out.
that's neat. I wish more for you then. I realized that I am a big sports fan my whole life. I have been to 11 baseball stadiums. 2 are defunct. The old Yankee Stadium and the old Shea Stadium where the Mets played. And then I have been to 9 current ballparks, which is like more than I thought. I was like, that's a lot.
I have been to 3 NHL stadiums if you count both in St. Louis. I have been to 3 NFL stadiums if you count going to see the Rolling Stones in Chicago. I did see a preseason game in Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills versus some other rando NFL team that had helmets and masks and cleats and stuff. And that is the worst stadium I've ever been to, I have to say. But I have been to, I think, 20 minor league hockey rinks, which is my jam. I have been to 3 MLS parks, Chicago, Kansas City, and St. Louis.
MLS, isn't that the real estate software used to price homes? Because I don't acknowledge the other thing you're talking about at all on this show.
You
ever in
don't.
my life.
You're okay. You know what? Next time you're here, we're going to a game.
No, we're
We
not.
are. We
No,
are.
we're not.
Make
Just
sure
like
you
were
come in
gonna
the winter.
Just like you were gonna try to force me to listen to Lulu with you. You're not. I love you, but we're not. We're not doing it.
Well, we will. Look, if you're okay, then tell you what. Let's just make a deal right now. If you don't listen to Lulu, there is no Tool and no Mastodon series.
Well, there's probably not anyway. I'm gonna talk you into
I
this.
look. If you get a choice, you can choose that choice.
I don't think I could do a soccer game even for those 2 things. But anyway, the news is done. We should do a shirt
News is
check
done.
and go on.
My
to the
shirt.
meat.
You do your shirt check first, so I don't skip it.
Well, I mean, we skipped both of ours last week. We kind of acknowledged
Oh.
the shirts, and we didn't do the shirt check. So we
my
are
shirt
some
check-
silly.
We are giddy gooses. My shirt check is Kiss Destroyer solo albums. I don't know. It's the solo albums from, but it looks like it's done in the style from the Empire State Building shot.
Yes.
And I also discovered recently that this is a big and tall shirt. I like
I mean,
a dumbass.
You are tall.
I am not tall. I'm 5'10".
It's tall to me.
A 5'10" male is not tall.
Okay.
My father was 6'3". My best, when in my band, my singer was 6'6". My bass player was 6'4". My best friend in high school was 6'5".
So basically,
And then there's
screaming
me.
trees with you.
Yeah, basically.
My dad
I-
was
I-
5'4", my mom was 5'1". I am a giant in my family at 5'7". My uncle was 6'3".
I noticed the other day when I was folding this shirt after doing the laundry, real men do laundry too. The size is XLT. And I always thought to myself, wow, why does this go down to my thighs? That's why.
Fair enough. XLT something with a number in front of it is usually the shirt that I wear. XL or XLT for just the length. This is a cool shirt. This is one of the oldest shirts I own. This is Metal for Nepal 2, which is a charity concert series I used to run. I probably wore this shirt before. This illustration, here's a fun fact. This illustration was done by tattoo artist, and metal artist Joe Getler of Wilderun, the progressive metal band from America. And this was done in the Boston area, so we continue the Boston theme today.
Can I mention cities I've been to, or is it just you?
I don't know. I just talk more
It
about
just
myself.
happens. It just always happens. Just
I'm
happens.
I'm just living my biography in real time instead of.
Did I ever
writing
tell
a
you
book.
that I have a coworker presently who asked me, when did you get here? And I'm like, what, St. Louis? Because, I mean, people in St. Louis don't really leave. I'm one of the, like, 18 white people in St. Louis that speaks multiple languages. And I am one of the few people in St. Louis that's not an athlete or a musician that's left the country and, other states. It's just unusual. She's like, when did you get here? Like, what, St. Louis? She's like, no, America. Huh? Where are you from? Um, St. Louis. The place where we are. I'm from. I'm here. Lawyer wife always said that she didn't think I came across as a Midwesterner. I always came across as an East Coast person. So, and I will take that. But if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and set the stage now for what we are talking about. We are now heading into the jumping off point. Metallica, between Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, does something that no other underground metal band had ever done. Something that Anthrax never did. Something Slayer never still has neither of them have ever done. Metallica signed to a major label. I know in 2024 to say Elektra Records, I don't think that really matters to anybody at this point. I think the Elektra Records name has lost all of its cachet. However, in 1985, Elektra Records was still top of the pops. I mean, we're not talking about Capitol or Atlantic, but we are talking about the band. We are talking about the label that launched the Doors. We're talking about the label that launches, kind of, with Reprise Records, launches bands like Faith No More. Elektra Records for a time was just an absolutely amazing, wonderful hit factory. I believe Queen was on Elektra Records for a time as well. So how does this band, who in 2 years goes from singing about wearing Judas Priest costumes and banging your head on the stage, to mainstream notoriety, mature songwriting, it's an absolute butterfly in a cocoon situation. In 1989 or 1983, Metallica was in the larval stage. That was the caterpillar. In 1984, when they dropped Ride the Lightning, we were talking about the pupal stage. And in 1986, Metallica emerges from the cocoon fully formed after having shed all the vestiges of their previous lives. And we finally get Metallica. I have made the argument that no one has agreed with that Master of Puppets is actually the very first Metallica record. Because it is the first Metallica record written by the 4 guys in Metallica. And that's my opinion. I'm going to go with it.
I guess. Technically, Mustaine has written a song and a half on this album, but okay, go ahead.
That's what somebody says. That's what Wikipedia says. And as Keefy says weekly, we know not to trust Wikipedia. In my humble opinion, this is the first Metallica record, and it is the only Metallica record featuring Cliff Burton. The other albums are...
No.
I said what I said.
No. Bad, Nick. Bad. So bad.
Okay. It is the only Metallica record. It is the first Metallica record to feature only Metallica at the time.
No.
There's a way to phrase this that you're going to appreciate what I'm saying.
I don't think
I may not find it today, but I'll find it.
You shan't find it today.
But in 1986 that's when the Iran-Contra scandal comes to light. That's when the stock market starts to get a bit squiffy. That's when the Cold War starts to thaw. It's also it's a transitional year in America. Reagan goes from statesman and genius into nearly villain. That's when the optimism of the 1980s starts to falter. The first wave of hair metal starts to go away, and we are 6 or 7 weeks away from Guns N' Roses. Aerosmith comes back into form with a hip-hop song featuring Run DMC. And during the recording of the song, they were pretty racist, but that's besides the point. And it's 1986. I know I say a lot that these are weird years, and you know what? Maybe there are no weird years. Maybe there's just weird people that rise to the top. But Metallica makes the most of 1986, and it starts with the
I will
release
also
of
say
Master of Puppets.
1986 was a decent year in my life because I was leaving junior high school to go to high school, and the New York Football Giants would go on to win the Super
Oh, they
Bowl in
did
the
win the Super
following
Bowl against the
January
Bills.
against the Denver Broncos. First time.
Whatever, Bills. Bills, Broncos.
First championship in 30 years. This is in January of '87, but the '86 season was
Yeah.
14-2 Giants, Big Blue Wrecking Crew, Lawrence Taylor,
And
Phil
my
Simms.
mother got married at halftime of that show,
That's
of
crazy.
that game. I was not allowed to be there. I should point out, to make Keefy very happy, the New York Mets win the World Series against Boston.
I am not.
It's just all Keefy. The World
I'm not a
Series just
Mets
came
fan.
up Keefy. That he's a Mets fan.
I'm a Yankees fan, not a Mets.
Wait,
fan.
you like fake ball?
I love the greatest teams of all time: the Yankees, the Giants, the New York Rangers, the greatest hockey team ever to live. And unfortunately, my basketball team sucks. But anyway,
That's fake baseball. That's not real baseball.
whatever, bro.
But it doesn't matter because we don't have real baseball anymore anyway, so whatever. They took it away.
Do you have anything else to set the table? Shall I do the albums
1986.
of '86?
One last thing. That is the year of the Monday Night Miracle in St. Louis.
What is this?
It's the most pointless sporting ball match ever. The St. Louis Blues are down 3 goals in going into the third period of Game 6 of the conference finals. It was the first time they had reached the third round of the playoffs in my life. And they come back to win it in overtime. Greg Paslowski, Doug Wickenheiser. God rest you, Doug. God rest you, Wick. And then they got just crunched the next game. So they have this amazing comeback at home, only to be crushed in Calgary. And but we did get Brett Hull out of the deal eventually. But yeah, that's all I got for '86.
All right, so let's just quickly take a look at other records that came out in 1986. 1986 is one of the most banner years for metal ever. Sorry,
I'm gonna give the vinyl no vinyl though. So if I say yes, I got it on vinyl. If I say nothing, I don't.
I would say you have maybe a third of these on vinyl,
Let's see.
or you should if you don't.
That's probably fair.
And I'm gonna say we're gonna have a debate at the end of this. If we're gonna
I
have
got
a debate, we're gonna have a debate about one of these records alongside Master of Puppets. Somewhere in Time, Iron Maiden.
No.
Fatal Portrait, King Diamond.
No.
Peace sells, but who's buying?
No.
The Dark, Metal Church.
No.
Rain in Blood, Slayer.
Yes.
Awaken the Guardian, Fate's Warning.
No.
Darkness Descends, Dark Angel.
No.
This album is going to come back when we do And Justice for All. Pleasure to Kill, Creator.
No.
Doomsday for the Deceiver, Flotsam and Jetsam, one of my favorite albums.
I need to get that one. I really want that one.
Mostly written by one Jason Newsted. Epicus Doomicus Metallicus, Candlemass.
No.
You need to have it. Orgasmatron, Motorhead.
I've seen that movie. Oh wait, that was Orgasmo.
You don't have it. You need to.
No, I don't have it. I don't have any Motorhead.
Rage for Order, Queensryche.
No. And Helmet.
I have most of the Motorheads, but not that one, by the way. Eternal Devastation, Destruction. Never been a huge fan of theirs. They're good,
Nope.
though. Fuck Yngwie Malmsteen. Morbid Visions, Sepultura.
Which Yngwie was it?
Trilogy.
Okay, no, I don't have that one.
Morbid Visions, Sepultura.
Nope.
Eat 'Em and Smile, David Lee Roth.
Yes. I almost bought the Spanish version too.
The Deluge, Manila Road.
No, I have no more Vanilla Road. I had one, but I got rid of it.
7 Star, Black Sabbath.
Got it.
Terrible.
It is not terrible. It's just got terrible lyrics.
Ultimate Sin. Ozzy
Nobody's ever
Osbourne.
talked about how great the lyrics are in Black Sabbath records, except everybody that listens to them.
Ultimate Sin.
Nope. Don't have that one.
Eye Against Eye, Bad Brains. I have that.
No, sir.
To Hell with the Devil, Striper.
God, no.
That'd be a good one for the DMA.
Be a good shit. No, it wouldn't. That's like their number one.
Night Songs, Cinderella.
Oh God, no.
I need that.
Why?
Game Over, Nuclear Assault, solid record, but I don't have it.
Nope, don't have.
It's the final countdown. Europe.
Do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do. By the way, Joey Tempest of Europe is on the new Opeth album. Opeth announced their new album. We didn't talk about that, but all right. Slippery When Wet, Bon Jovi.
Yep, got that one.
5150 Van Halen.
Oh, Van Hagar, the best Van Halen. I'm not triggering Keefy.
I hate you so much right now. To quote
Oh, you know what? You hate me right now, but you're going to hate me a lot come the first podcast in September when you got to hear all about that Sammy Hagar concert.
1 Foot in Hell, Sarah Thungle.
Nope.
Constrictor, Alice Cooper.
I would love that, but I don't have it.
Turbo, Judas Priest. I have it.
No, I only have Beast in the East. Or Unleashed in the East.
Russian Roulette, Accept.
I don't like Accept.
Beyond the Gates, Possessed.
Nope.
I think what we're realizing is this is a very deep year for metal and rock.
Yes, it is.
Fight for the Rock, Sabotage, not their best.
Nope.
Born Too Late, St. Vitus, probably their best. Roar by Voivod, I have it. It's great.
Mm-mm.
Look What the Cat Dragged In by Poison. I know you definitely have that one.
I have a Japanese press of that one.
I knew you would. Vinnie Moore, Mind's Eye. Possessed by Fire by Exhumer. Good band, good album.
I thought that was going to be Seven Churches. I was waiting for it to be Seven Churches.
No, Possessed had Beyond the Gates already. That was the year before Seven Churches.
Okay.
Age of Coral, Cro-Mags. I have this.
Nope.
And Mechanical Resonance, Tesla.
I don't like Tesla.
Well, they got the one.
The what, Signs? Well, that's a good song.
Whatever. It's a cover, right? It's not even their song.
Is it a cover? I thought it was a cover.
It's a cover. It's a cover. I mean, a very deep year. I mean, like every Big Four band but Anthrax has a record this year. King Diamond, Maiden, Ozzy and Black Sabbath, Motorhead.
I'd say it's a down year for the classic guys.
Stop being sarcastic.
I'm not. Ultimate Sin, Fatal Portrait, and
I mean, Somewhere in Time is great though.
I don't think Somewhere in Time is great. I think Somewhere in Time is very mid.
We gave it a very good review though in our.
You might have given it a very good review. I did not give it a very good review. I think that is a mid record. It's a mid record with an.
I'm about to go downvote this podcast, so Nick has a bad review.
See, I didn't think you were going to say the word vote after that. I thought you were going to say on Nick.
You're weird.
No, right. I'm not weird. I am strange.
Shall we dispense with the pleasantries and discuss the track by track of the album?
No, I want to talk a little bit more about how this was done.
Sure, go ahead. I'll shut up.
To begin with,
boo on you though.
Boo earns. I was saying boo earns. So this is the first record where Metallica didn't have to run into the studio and run out. They had time to demo it. They had time to record it. They did have all of their homework done going in, unlike, this guy here. The only song that they had worked on in the studio was Orion, which Orion is an amazing song. I do talk about how I don't like hearing it live. I just don't like instrumentals live, especially Metallica's really mellow instrumentals. They don't have any, they don't have the kind of instrumental I like live. Simple as that. So this album was recorded over the course of 3 months. Again, they bring in Flemming Rasmussen, and I think they never should have given up on Flemming Rasmussen, even bringing in Bob Rock. Bob Rock and Flemming could work in tandem. Flemming was a glorified engineer, as they put it. They didn't use those words, but
that is
Flemming,
so disrespectful of Flemming. He literally taught them how to produce a record. He literally.
What do you call production? I mean, when you say produce a record, what do you mean? What I mean by produce a record is Bob Ezrin, is those kinds of guys that get in there and they direct the movie.
No, some bands don't need you to direct the movie. Certainly Lars and James didn't need anybody to direct the movie in 1986. Maybe in 84, that made them into the band they are.
I'll give you that.
They have not needed anyone to direct the movie in almost 40 years. So
right, and that's why the albums, and Metallica said in 1989, we produced the records ourselves. Flemming is there because I don't know how to work the machines. I say I need more, and Fleming goes dial, dial, dial. I am only saying what they said about Fleming. The production aspect of a record, for me, isn't the sonics. It is the directing the movie. And yes, in 1986, Metallica did not need any direction. And as we will jizz ropes of joy into each other's nostrils momentarily from 10 feet away. And let's get there. So the point is, they go back to Europe. They're doing this on Electra's dime. There's probably a couple of bucks from Music for Nations as well. They have 3 months to record. Now, it's funny to think about that because now it takes Metallica 4 years to make anything. It takes 4 years for them to, write a song to put on an album. Lord's Summer notwithstanding. I mean, in fact, I wish that had never happened. But every now and again, I got to reference it. So not only that, but they had time. This is where, and I'm going to say it again. This is where Metallica fully forms, because Metallica's not. They're not the kind of person to go shopping at Target for their fashion. Metallica is a high-end, well-oiled machine. Metallica's not a Camaro. They're not a Mustang. Metallica's a Ferrari. Let's be realistic about what they are. And to be a Ferrari, to be a Lamborghini, takes a lot more money than it does to be a Mustang or a Camaro or a Charger. And now that Metallica has the backing, the real financial backing, like the man from, when the man walks into the Ministry of Silly Walks and he says, with a government grant, I can really develop my walk to be silly. With an Elektra grant, Metallica was able to make their metal amazing. And I would make as we've discussed many times on this podcast and on the Department of Metal Antiquities, when you joined us, Pink Floyd routinely made the same record over and over and over. And Metallica does that for 3 records in a row. And I will say for Till I Die, maybe even 4, that Lightning, Puppets, Justice, and Black are largely the same record. But with different songs. But I mean, same concepts, same ideas, same pacing. And which one is the best? Well, this one's definitely better than the previous. Is it better than the next one? We'll fight about that in a few weeks. But let's get into now, if you would like, the track by track.
Will this be me or you?
I can lead this one if you don't mind.
You go ahead.
I am not even going to look at the track list. First track, clocking in at 5 minutes, 35 seconds. Battery. This one starts off with some amazing acoustic work. Some amazing dynamic. The acoustic phasing out and the electric phasing in. I actually remember bringing this on cassette to Spanish class. And I have no idea why my professor was willing to let me play it, other than the fact that I was the best Spanish student my high school ever had. And I can remember for a minute my friends, I almost said co-workers, my fellow students looking at me going, what are we listening to? Why are you putting in this tape of acoustic guitar work? They couldn't believe what it was, that was something I would be listening to. And that is what has always made Metallica so amazing, is their ability to draw a black and white photo in shades of gray more than black and white.
Well, that is a hell of an intro and a glow up. I mean, what a great album opener. Maybe the best album opener of any Metallica album opener. I think it is the absolute best song they ever opened an album with. I don't care about Enter Sandman.
There's no other song popping into my head right now to say no.
Most brutal, coolest riff, except for like 2. I mean, the great lyrics. Literally, it's a song about being. It's like their Motorhead. It's like an update of Hit the Lights. We're metal. We are a metal band, but it's like a little more mature and can be more universal and accepted. what else can you say? This is their, this is their Toxic Waltz or Strike of the Beast earlier, just a little bit earlier,
I think that's even insulting.
probably.
And I
We're
love Toxic Waltz.
Exodus. Yeah, we did the Exodus. Yeah, this is an incredible album opener, and I do think like the stuff that they did, like Fade to Black on the acoustic guitar, it was sort of Morricone worship, right? Now they're starting to develop their own sound and identity. But also, right off the bat, even better production than they had on Ride the Lightning, which was already better than Kill 'Em All. So this is, to me, the best production on a Metallica or Thrash record. Sorry, not sorry about your comments about the next record. And
Oh, the engineering and recording of Justice is terrible. No, no apologies.
that kind of downgrades the album for me forever. But anyway, great opening track. What else can I say? Great, and also let's just like James Hetfield vocals. This is the vocal performance where he figured it all out, stuck the landing right off the bat.
It's where he becomes James Hetfield as we know him.
Yeah. Oh gosh, so good, so good.
I mean, I felt like you were a little kind to his vocals on Fade to Black last week, and or a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't gonna like fight about it. Here we have James. He's still not. I wouldn't say he's singing, but he's a lot more melodically out of tune. Out of tune is not the right term.
He's yelling on key. That's what he used to say. I yell on key.
Yeah, but I thought he did that for the first two records. Here he's yelling melodically.
A little bit better.
It's not, I wouldn't say he has a large range, but you know what? If you have a 3-note range or a 3-tone range, it's a lot better than what you did on, say, Kill 'Em All, where there's no range.
Yeah, also, let's just, flowers where flowers deserve. Lars has improved much better. This might be one of the peaks of his, this next few years.
I would say this is the peak of Lars. Lars's creativity on this is amazing.
Next record, drumming is probably the highlight for me, but I think Lars stepped up, James stepped up, great guitar tone. I think James is still doing the double track by himself.
He's still doing all the
Kirk
rhythms.
does not record one rhythm until the Black Album.
Until
he writes the Enter Sandman. Until he wrote the Enter Sandman riff. He's got a couple of guitar parts on Black.
Are you sure?
A few, very few, but a few. Yes, Year in the Life of Metallica. Right. You see him tracking guitar parts. And yeah, I mean, this is so. I still get chills, and I love hearing it live. So what else can I say?
Moving on to track 2, a song that I'm sick of because now it's a hit, and I can't like anything popular, as we all know. This one clocking in at 8 minutes and 38 seconds. I have all the times memorized if you haven't picked up on this yet. We have the title track, Master of Puppets, and once again we have what becomes we continue to have the Metallica title track song, which is always track 2. It's always got a rhythm guitar solo. It's always epically long. But this one is different than Ride the Lightning. Ride the Lightning is James writing fan fiction about an execution. On this track, he's writing about real life that he's seen. We didn't find out until the Load era that Metallica was a drug band. They always kept that under wraps. Oh, no, we don't use drugs. We drink a lot, but we don't use drugs. Kirk, Cliff, Lars, all loved the cocaine. And Sebastian Bach speaks at length about doing cocaine with Lars. He also talks about in the same breath in that book how much he did not like cocaine. But he continued to do cocaine with anyone who had cocaine. So I don't know if you really just needed to get marching with your Bolivian marching powder, or you needed to clear out your basement with some hand truck fuel there, Bast. But, you do you. And cocaine. And James...
I want to believe, just to interrupt for a second, I want to believe in the future, if Lars ever writes a book, and I hope he will, I hope it's warts and all. I hope he's got the bravery to just tell on himself so we find out all these things.
I only know I can only name one musician that did, and I grudgingly have to give this guy his flowers for it, Peter Criss. In Peter Criss's book, Make Up to Break Up, he actually confirmed every horrible story ever written about him in every other book. And you know what? Big ups to you, Pete. You seem to be the only member of Kiss at this point in time that I would actually hang out with.
I think there's been a few in my Mark Lanigan, Scott Ian, Randy Bly.
I haven't read those.
God. Yeah, I know you haven't, but maybe you should.
I'm just saying the only one I know of is Peter Criss. Anyway, Master of Puppets. James Hetfield plays a rhythm guitar solo, or a lead, which then goes into a harmony. And here we have something Metallica's never done. We have a harmony solo. They don't do many. They still don't do many because James just doesn't want to put in the effort to be a lead guitar player.
Well, technically, Fade to Black has a harmony solo, actually.
Does it? But I think
Fade to Black is structured like Along the Watchtower with the 3 solos.
I believe Kirk plays all of it.
Really? Okay.
I believe.
I'm pretty sure
I'm going to say this is the first major, noticeable anyway, harmony guitar solo where it's not about where you notice them both playing it. And this is the first credited James Hetfield guitar solo because it lists when he plays a solo in the credits. Because, God damn it, anyway, we all got to know who's playing the solo, even though usually it's Kirk. So I'm going to say this is the first one. And then we have, that bridge, that amazing bridge. We have Cliff Burton's backup vocals, which I believe he does on the album. Don't quote me on that. Which, if he doesn't, it leads to the live vocals, which were amazing. And I do want to touch on the bootleg record I have from this tour. If you don't
touch on it later, after.
Yeah, at the end. And Master of Puppets, man, what can you say? It's a perfect Metallica song. My thing has always been every band gets one perfect song that perfectly defines who they are. Metallica just keeps busting out 2 or 3 a record and continues to do 2 or 3 a record. You may not appreciate the entirety of Load and Reload, but there's a few amazing tracks on each one at least. But in this time, in Metallica's heyday, they're Barry Bonds, man. They are just dingers and amazing defensive plays constantly.
That is a very astute observation. I'm going to say some outlandish shit now. Master of Puppets is the greatest song in thrash metal history, bar none. It is the greatest
Probably,
riff.
yeah.
It is the greatest performance of a song by the best musicians in the genre at this moment, except for maybe Lombardo and Slayer. This song was not equaled before or since, in my personal opinion. I know we're going to fight about Slayer later, but I think this song is, you open up the dictionary and look up thrash metal, this should be the entry. Master of Puppets by Metallica, 8/24. This is the song, because
Agreed.
It's everything. The riff is untouchable. The production, the delivery, the ferociousness, the savagery of James's, he starts to act the song out almost. Like, you feel it. You feel the power of the lyrics with James's vocals. Incredible, everything, great.
Completely agreed. So this is the James Hetfield King Diamond show. Say what you want about King Diamond and the goofiness and the whatever, but the one thing King Diamond has never lacked in his career, probably never in his life, is one thing: conviction. And conviction goes a long way into conveying a feeling, a mood, or a story. A lot of people in this world don't have conviction. The couch banger doesn't have much conviction. We all know who I'm talking about. Anyway, let's not bounce off the walls, as it were, and let's talk about the thing that should not be.
Good pick there, by the way. That was a good
Spectacular pick. Oh my God, I love him.
He came out firing.
I'm like seeing pictures of him like setting up his turntable for his daughter's turntable, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. He's got my vote.
He's pretty awesome.
Look, I mean, if this is a human being. That's like a legitimate, fully formed human, and we don't have that much of that in politics.
He's not a puppet with masters. He's an actual master of.
Yeah, he's a master of himself. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Anywho, so that is a human being in politics. Literally, would be the thing that should not be at this point. Boom. Anyway, thing that should not be. If you want some Lovecraftian business, this is a great track. I don't know anything about Lovecraft. I've never read anything. I just know he's a horrible human being. But all dudes in 1918 were terrible human beings, so it's not really fair. But this is Metallica at their most literate. They don't have enough life experience to fill a whole record with it. but they are still touching on. This is as deep as Metallica will go into the Ronnie James Dio, the Iron Maiden, Dungeons and Dragons thing. They don't go real far. This is actually, and even if you listen, if you look at the lyrics and really check them out, you will see a very relatable concept if you go back a few years. This is a song about sailors being lost at sea, and if you just completely ignore the fact that it's being lost at sea by Scylla and Charybdis, it's a totally relatable story. You know, the wives are waiting for. It's like in Ponyo, man. You know, Tina Fey's character is waiting for Matt Damon to come home. But
Are you
great
talking
song.
about the English dub of Ponyo? Oh my god.
Yes, I'm talking about the English dub of Ponyo. Come on, man. You know I am Ghibli through and through.
Yeah, but original with the English dub, I don't.
No, I never do English
I
dubs.
want Japanese with the subtitles only. Please.
Yeah, give me sub, not dubbed. Anywho, we watched Lost. Speaking of which, the kid told me to mention her, so I'm going to mention her. We watched Lost in Translation the other day, and I know you've seen it. We watched Priscilla the other day as well. Kid loves Sofia Coppola now, but we're watching the scene where the Japanese director is screaming at Bill Murray in Japanese, and the translator is giving him like two and three word things. I started laughing hysterically because I understood part of what he was saying. And spoiler alert, she did not convey everything he said. But there was one line where he was screaming, "This is not some cheap beer. This is an expensive whiskey. Show it respect." She didn't tell him that.
That tracks for that director and Bill Murray.
And Suntory is not cheap.
Let's discuss the grandeur of this song. Not only is this song is let people know that metal didn't just have to be, 240 beats per minute. Battery and Master Puppets are as good as thrash metal gets for 14 minutes, almost. And thing that should not be is a grinder. It's a slow boil. And I think a lot of bands took their entire style from this song. Maybe even Pantera. For sure, on the next record, Pantera copied whole things from Metallica.
The mid-tempo grind. And this is something Metallica does so well.
The marching beat.
Yeah,
march.
It's something they use to great effect on Load and Reload. Like, I forget what song I'm thinking of now, but there are a couple of songs where you can hear like the strings hitting the frets in the bend, and that's just that, and it's just a great feel.
Thinking back to our series on Load, I think you're probably referring to 2x4, which I know you love.
I just peed myself.
You just peed a little.
No, a lot. I peed a lot.
Oh, yikes.
That is Metallica's best song.
I'm older than you. You shouldn't be peeing yourself at this point.
I pee myself when we talk about 2x4.
I know. Thing that should not be is great. And
let's all right, moving on. Welcome Home Sanitarium, the ballad. There's not a whole lot to say about this one. This one incorporates some things Metallica hasn't done. They throw in some harmonics. They throw in, of course, the melodic solos. And again, we have Metallica feeling ways about things. In the 80s, we are dealing with a time when the Republican establishment is starting to bus mental institution patients to California. They take them out of the institutions, put them on a bus, and say, "Do you want to go see palm trees like Karate Kid?" And put them on the bus. And what's waiting for them on the other side of the bus? Nothing.
Well, that was Reagan. Reagan did this. This happened in New York, where Ed Koch shut down all the mental hospitals, and then the streets are just full of people in hospital gowns in the winter. Like, what is happening? Why did this happen?
Like the Chin?
Well, that was some bullshit, but
I know what it was.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts about
No, great song, and again, they're talking about real things.
Yeah.
If you've got nothing else, we'll flip the record.
I have some.
I apologize.
Welcome Home Sanitarium is a song that I delightfully played all the time in the basement with Curtis Dunlap, friend to the show, brother of mine, and
Coiner of Shubbalub, my hero.
Your hero, that's right. Welcome Home is kind of like, I know they did the same thing on Fade to Black without the pirated part. They did the same thing on One. They've done the same thing other times. Day That Ever Comes, another one where music normally doesn't speed up. It's usually one tempo the whole way through. And I
I
don't think
know they've done the same thing a few times, but you know what? If you hit the ball to right center and it goes out, swing for right center again.
well, this is kind of like I was going to say, this is like their Stairway to Heaven moment in a way, because the song literally has the same progression as Stairway to Heaven, where it gets faster and faster till the ending. And it does have an unbelievable, the guitar work on this song, great lyrics and everything, but the guitar work on this is amazing. And in the 90s, what Metallica used to do to try to fit it into shows would cut out the second half of the song, which would
Did
enrage
they?
me.
I remember they did
this
that
with
to Puppets.
They did it to Puppets, and they did it to Sanitarium, and it used to
I
be
only
like,
saw it with Puppets.
my brain was like, don't even play the song if you're not going to play
Right.
the
If
whole
you're only
song.
playing half of one of these epics, just don't. I'm just gonna punch you in the dick and let's move on.
Right, okay. All set. Flip the record.
Flip the record. Just for the record, do you know how long this album is? 55 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Do you know how many LPs it was put on?
2.
One.
Really?
Yeah, it was on one. It still sounds great though. I think the 38-minute thing is overblown, but that's just me. Anyway, moving on to Disposable Heroes. And in the 80s, and again, I think this record is really influenced by Reagan. Because Reagan, as we discussed in the previous track, busting all the institution patients. Then we have the beginning of America being in endless wars again. In 1986, we were talking about the line of death in Libya, and all of a sudden, we have America fighting all over the world again. We have the GIs going to South America and taking over and displacing entire governments. We didn't have that in the 70s. We had lost our taste for war, but now that the draft is gone, and taking away the draft made the Warhawks war hawkier. Think about how much we've been fighting since then with the volunteer force. So Disposable Heroes discusses what it's like to die on the battlefield. It's like the Trooper, except much more powerful. And I love the Trooper. We all love the Trooper. Oh, whoa, whoa. But the lyrics are frankly terrible and can really take you out of it. Disposable Heroes, we talked about James Hetfield maturing. James Hetfield has matured and leveled up to a level if you played Hit the Lights for me and then nothing else, and then we sat for a minute and I waited for you to talk and you said, this man is going to become one of the greatest reality lyricists in the history of metal. He's going to make Ronnie James Dio look like a fool. He's going to make you think in a way you never could. I would say you're an idiot and give me the joint now. It's my turn. You've had too much. But here we are, 3 years after Hit the Lights. We have this amazing work. And I love Hit the Lights, but it's not amazing.
Fair enough. It's a pretty epic song, and it's another one of these rhythm guitar solo parts. Like, a majority of the song is just insane rhythm stuff. Like, how did James play this stuff? How does he play it now?
There's a lot of it that's actually just single open E's. Metallica used an open E. They made so many riffs that were just the open E. For 15, 16 notes. But you know what? They did it really, really well. And they were able to put enough jelly around that peanut butter to make you not notice that there was way too much peanut butter.
Accurate. It's fully accurate.
Thank you.
I don't have much more to add. It's a pretty great song.
Great song. Yeah, amazing. Man, okay, this next song, we're both going to be just down on it, right? Next song, if you want a mid-tempo grinder with some kick-ass bass work, don't look. Oh, no, totally look at the Leper Messiah's just got you. And again, topical lyrics. In the previous record, they did a little work with, Christian mythology. Here we have discussing the Christian present. What a lot of people don't remember is that the Republicans were not always the party of the religious right. Ronald Reagan courts the evangelicals. And the evangelicals are the people on TV nailing prostitutes, putting back the stripper salt and enjoying some Betty White, all while telling you that you're going to hell unless you give them $4,000. Anybody who's seen the Righteous Gemstones, here we are. This is it. And James deals with his upbringing by pointing out hypocrisy. And I'm not going to tell you that James is, the most even-keeled and wonderful person in the world, but when he writes songs like this, it makes me feel good. We also get an example of Cliff filling empty space with lead bass at the beginning, and also the first track featuring Lars Ulrich on vocals. He says 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Great song, no more.
Sure, if you want to give him a credit there. This is the contested song that Dave Mustaine claims he wrote part of, and I think he's referring to the second riff in the song. That very again, another marchy march beat, but I think he claimed not the opening riff that opens the song. That sounds like an announcement, but the second riff.
Whatever, Dave, eat your own butt.
I guess it's a pretty great song. I have gotten to see it live a couple times. You have not, unfortunately. It is a terrific song, though. It's pretty fantastic. What happened there? Hell, you're coming apart at the seams, pal.
Sorry about that. A little bit of technical difficulties. Moving on into Orion, which probably is the best Metallica instrumental. It's the most emotional. The bass solo into the last Kirk Hammett solo is a dirge. It is a dirge of a solo. And when you think about somebody like Kirk Hammett, who is one of the ultimate speedsters, dexterous, speedy, able to make this kind of a solo that you feel that bend in your soul. No notes. Amazing. I just don't want to hear it live.
Well, so here's the thing. This is pretty interesting. It was never played live until 2006.
And
obviously the song has, well, maybe our fans don't know. And a lot of our fans...
Fair enough.
Like, obviously the song has much more meaning after what happens after this record comes out with Cliff.
After the Cliff Mall, the last credits of Cliff Mall.
Right. But I just think in general, like, this whole album, this whole song took on a deeper meaning after Cliff and his passing, but it is an unbelievable track. Everything about it. It is... what did I text you earlier? Fucking Orion, bro! Like, it is so heavy and so.
It's amazing. It's one of it's a top 5 metal instrumental of all time.
For sure.
Period.
For sure. And it is. I know Cliff, joined the band. He was playing Anesthesia for years in Trauma and other things, and to live is to die is Cliff's words, and. But and some in his music, but I mean, this and For Whom the Bell Tolls opening bass run and solo. This is the pinnacle for Cliff as a player.
Completely agree.
And then they built a great track around his part. I don't know that he composed that harmony. We weren't in the room. We don't know. Put the harmony there. Like who? We don't know.
We were not in the room where it happened.
We were not in the room where it happened.
I have seen that.
I've seen it many times. I know.
One time. Shut up.
Bring Us Home. I didn't see it on Broadway. I saw the show, like the video, TV.
No, I saw it at the Fox.
Good for you.
Not with the original people, but I will finish every record and then another record.
And then yourself.
I hope I don't have to. Anyway, moving on. Next, again, we were talking about Cliff Burton's amazing bass, and the next track is Damage Incorporated, which has an amazing 90-second bass intro. But it's kind of that dirgy feel like Kirk Hammett's last solo. So it connects these two songs in a way that they probably didn't need. But it's a great intro into a great song. Again, the Metallica way. What's the Ride the Lightning actually doesn't do it. But in Kill 'Em All, not Kill 'Em. Well, of course it does on Kill 'Em All, but I didn't mean that. Puppets, Justice, Black all finish out with a fast ripper. to varying degrees of quality. This is the best one, just for the record. And that's just kind of the way Metallica ends it. They like Mitch Hedberg said about comedy, you got to start strong and you got to finish strong. When Metallica writes an amazing thrash record, you got to start fast and you got to finish fast. But in the middle, maybe you don't got to be. And here we have another song. James and Lars are writing and putting together these amazing tracks. They don't have a whole lot of life experience yet. So we have a couple of songs on this record that are about life experience and a couple of songs that are about modern events. And then we have this one, which is about hypothetical beating people up. It's Metal Militia Part 2, except so much better. This makes Metal Militia look like an idiot.
Aw. Punching down.
It's true.
It is true. Here's a fun and interesting thing. Lars has said in oldie interviews around the time of the Black Album, he's like, you can always kind of predict. He's like, Metallica sequenced the records a certain way, but usually because the last songs on the record were always written last, those ended up being written last on, and the earlier songs might have been shuffled around, even if they had a vision of how it was, fast one time.
Right, we talked about that, yeah.
But also, so if you think real hard, Creeping Death and Call of Cthulhu is to Master of Puppets as Dyer's Eve and Orion will be to And Justice for All in a way. And
We're
those
getting really deep.
those 7, 8, and 9 tracks on the Metallica records are always super pinnacle to me and key to me. But Damage Inc. is somehow underrated as an incredible song. Unbelievable.
I think a
riffs.
lot of Master of Puppets is underrated.
Well, no, I just
as individual songs.
Maybe.
I am not a contrarian, but I will take this contrarian position, which I'm being completely contrarian. I am not. A contrarian does not believe what they say. It's just the automatic gangsaying of anything anybody else says. I genuinely believe what I say. So now, what happens after this record comes out? What is like the coolest thing that Metallica could get?
Well, they get to open for Ozzy.
A phone call from Ozzy motherfudgin', finger fudgin', ant snorting, cocaine licking, urine drinking, Ozzy motherfudgin' Osbourne. And so they are thrilled because this is the band that inspired all the American members of the band. This is the band that they just loved. And James has been quoted as saying at soundcheck every day they'd play Symptom of the Universe. And maybe Ozzy will come up and play with us. Like, imagine Metallica fanboying so hard over somebody, and then you can understand exactly how important Ozzy Osbourne was. And this is Ozzy Osbourne at the peak of his 80s popularity. In the early 80s with Randy, unfortunately, he was not as popular as he should have been. The Jakey Lee years were the years. Metallica gets 55 minutes to open. So basically, they have enough to play a record. They got 3. Would you like to hear a set list?
Funny enough, I had a set list ready also.
I have Joe Louis Arena. Where you go?
I have Alpine Valley Music Theater, East Troy, Wisconsin.
Yeah, fuck that place. This is Joe Louis Arena. They win Stanley Cups in this place.
Go ahead, buddy.
Let's see if it's the same. Battery, Master of Puppets, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Ride the Lightning, Welcome Home, Sanitarium, which is one song, Seek and Destroy, Creeping Death, with an encore, Am I Evil, and Damage Incorporated.
I think I have you beat.
Okay, go ahead.
Wisconsin may have to get its day.
Where in Wisconsin? I'm sorry, where in Wisconsin again?
Alpine, East Troy. I have no idea where that is.
Where the hell? Okay, I'm going to look that up now.
I mean, Ozzy played there. They have an arena, so... Or a music theater. Battery. Master of Puppets. Bells. Welcome Home.
Suburban Wisconsin. Or suburban Milwaukee.
Thing That Should Not Be.
Oh, damn.
Seek and Destroy.
Yeah.
Creeping Death.
Wow.
With an encore of Fade to Black.
Ooh.
And Damage Incorporated. I think this one is better.
Damn.
So
they were even changing the set list then.
Right back then. You're right. Like, yeah. Changing it up. That's great.
That's beautiful.
Do you want to hear Ozzy's set list from that tour?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me.
Let's just have some fun and bring in Ozzy.
Let's have some fun.
Opening with Bark at the Moon.
Okay.
None of these would be head scratchers. Bark at the Moon, Suicide Solution. Never Know Why. Deep cut. I could live without it. Crowley.
Mm-hmm.
Shot in the dark. I don't know.
Oh.
Don't raspberry shot in the dark.
How Raspberry Shot in the Dark every day.
Killer of Giants.
Okay, great song. Deep cut.
Deep cut. Thank God for the bomb. Solid.
Okay, yeah. To go right with Killer of Giants, spectacular.
Pretty much, yeah. The same song back to back.
Same song.
Flying High again.
Mm-hmm. Keep on smoking them joints.
Secret Loser.
I don't know that one.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy Train.
Okay.
Paranoid.
Good
80s,
Lord.
Mid-80s Ozzy's so good he only needs 2 Black Sabbath songs because he has enough hits and cool deep cuts to make it.
I would have died seeing that show.
I would love to have seen this. And especially, by the way, he was a train wreck and Metallica was showing them up every night.
Yeah, and I mean, he still came out and sang with them.
Right.
So what happens after the Ozzy tour?
Well, you take it.
After the Ozzy tour, Metallica decides, you know what? Our record, our thrash metal opus, is at 29 on the Billboard chart. I mean, think about that for a second. An underground metal band in the 80s, when records are getting snorted up like cocaine, Metallica hits 29, an unknown band. So they go on a tour. They go on a world tour. And I don't want to speak too much about it.
Well, let me just jump in and say, like, they were immediately bigger in the rest of the world than America because there's no apparatus in America to support underground metal bands. But the tour with Ozzy does help them. They become not a headliner, but an early day European festival band. So like 2, 3 in the afternoon, come on, play 30 minutes. Oh my God, this band is better than every band after it. Like, opening for Scorpions and AC/DC and Cinderellas, and they will play theaters, not quite arenas, but theaters by themselves across Europe. So they're playing like 1,000 people, 2,000.
Yeah, they're playing like 1 to 4,
and then they come back here and play to like 800 people by themselves.
Right. Yeah, they did. But they were doing festivals in Europe, even on the Lightning tour.
But the album is selling. Like Master of Puppets is on Elektra. Elektra is pushing it. It is selling. I remember distinctly, because Master's like my first Metallica record. Like, I didn't say that. Master's my first. It's not my first Metallica, but it's my first Metallica record in real time that came out when I was a fan already. So I had Ride is my first record, but like Metallica, got Metallica right at Master came out right after Ride for me, in my life. Like, I Ride, Master, like within a few, like 5 months. And so, yeah, you have to understand like what a ripple this made through the fandom. And then again, Rain and Blood is not quite out yet. It's out in June.
Right.
Key Cells is out right around the same time. All these other thrash records, Dark Angel, Sirathungal's heavy metal, but like heavy and evil, like Creator. Like, this started to become the bands on my radar at this time, junior high school. And, it was huge for me. It was huge for me. It was a huge refuge for me.
Well, if you don't mind.
And now to bring the mood way down.
Not yet. That's next week. I would like to discuss with you September 21st, 1986.
All right.
Does that sound close to anything?
Yeah.
The Hammersmith Odeon, London, England. I have a bootleg of it.
I was going to say my birthday, but go ahead.
Now, what's wrong with this photo?
I don't know. It's corny. It's a corny.
It doesn't
photo.
have the band that played that night.
Oh, you're right, because, okay.
John Marshall played rhythm guitar on this record.
Right, because did James break his arm skateboarding?
Yeah, broken wrist, skateboarding. This is a bootleg, of course, cool red color. I'm not going to read you the track listing on this record because it is not the full track listing. I'm going to read you the real set list.
Oh, okay. How's the sound on that bootleg?
It's a radio broadcast.
How's the sound on that radio broadcast?
The sound is spectacular. The band, drunk and chaotic.
Alcoholica. All right. Fair
Oh yeah, they were drinking a lot that night. So this is the last recorded show by Cliff Burton, as far as everyone. It's believed to be the last one, as far as everybody knows. So here's what they did. Ecstasy of Gold. And you know what? I don't know if we've mentioned this, but I love the fact that Metallica chose their opening song or their intro song way, way early. And you know what? Fuck it. This is what we do forever. Opening with Battery, Master of Puppets, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Welcome Home Sanitarium, Ride of the Lightning, Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth, preceded by, in the ultimate troll move, the Star Spangled Banner. Remember, this is in London. Whiplash, The Thing That Should Not Be, Fade to Black, Seek and Destroy, Creeping Death. Metallica says, good night, y'all. And they come back for the encore. Four Horsemen, guitar solo, Am I Evil, and Damage Incorporated. And then they go away and come back for one more song, Fight Fire with Fire. So
That's a great set list. And by the way, to play Am I Evil in England, where Diamond is from London, like that's terrific. And I bet that went over like that. Those fans knew the song and were like, "Oh, they're still doing it." Look,
right. And I mean, it's a 16-track set list in a club. I mean, the Odeons are clubs, and I don't know if everybody realizes it as well as I do. When you play in a stadium or an amphitheater or whatever, when you play, 10,000 or more, you play 2 hours. When you play 5,000 or less, you play 90 minutes. And here we go. Metallica comes out. Screw you guys. We're playing for 2 hours. 2 encores. Metallica has always been able to give the fans what they want. And I think this is where we end it.
I thought we
for
were
this week.
going. So we're gonna start next week. Very
next
depressed.
week. Yeah.
All right. Jesus.
We're gonna next week is gonna be a roller coaster. Well, 2 weeks. Chaser next week.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts on Master of Puppets? Here's my final thought. Master of Puppets, again, the greatest thrash metal record ever. Fight me if you want to. Angel of Death, incredible, but I think it's not as good.
No, this record is amazing. This is an absolute, and I don't know if Metallica has any other ones, but this is an absolute 10 of 10. And
they don't have another 10 of 10 record. This is their only 10 of 10 record. How about that?
Legitimately, no. It's 55 minutes. It's on one LP. It's perfection. It's start to finish. It's perfection. No notes.
It has no flaws.
None.
There's not even a song we disagreed on maybe for the first time ever in any series. There's always one.
Well, you like songs I hate, so what can I do? So with that, who's taking that? Who's taking
like songs that are not good?
I do.
I think it's my turn. So
take us home.
You have been listening to the Glacially Musical Podcast, which I ended my other podcast by almost saying it was the Glacially Musical Podcast last week when it wasn't, but this one is. So now you know that it is. This is the Glacially Musical Podcast, the brainchild of Nik Cameron, my friend and compatriot and metal fan friend. You know where to find Nik on all the things at Glacially Musical or Glacially_musical. One place that we're trying to get rid of, Nik_no_C on X. Burn in Hell X.
Follow me on Blue Sky, Glacially Musical. Follow me on Threads, Glacially Musical. Get me on those places. Don't get me on Twitter.
Yeah, fuck Twitter. You know me. I am Keefy of GhostCultMag.com, a.k.a. Ghost Cult Keefy on all the socials. Give us a follow if you like. Where you really could help us out is go listen to this wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. Or just in general, share it with your friends, whether they like metal or not. Because we're kind of entertaining. I think we're funny. Today we were nicer to each other, so that's a plus.
I'm trying.
For the most part. Well, both of us. And, yeah, that's what we do here. And as we say every week...
Hang on. I'm sorry. I got to jump in real quick before you hit that. Our subscriber numbers are finally improving weekly. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And at 100, I am collecting records out of my collection to send to one person out of 100. So if you are listening to this and you are not subscribed and you want to get some of my records, subscribe. Somebody's going to get a pile.
Maybe we can incentivize this with like a formal giveaway and do it on Ghost Cult's website.
It's going to be a giveaway.
No, but I'm saying like if we make it a thing.
Like a big thing?
Like a campaign that's a separate thing from our podcast.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do that.
Maybe we'll talk about how to do that correctly.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Because then we can like get people to share it with their friends, and if we can prove that someone's friend signed up, that gives them more entries. We can figure it out with a hashtag like Nik Rules or something. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, please care for yourselves, care for your vinyl, and as we say every week at the Glacially Musical Podcast, it does not play in Peoria, but Metallica did on this 1986 tour following Master of Puppets' release in March.
Vinyl style.
Vinyl style, bro. Vinyl style. I don't know how this thing turns off anymore because all the controls for the thing moved.